Night comes, shadows stretch out, a cold wind whispers through the city streets. It carries a story, a scary story, the story of the red-cloaked woman. People say she walks in the night, they say she looks for something, no one knows what it is, but everyone knows her name, the red-cloaked woman. Where did she come from? No one really knows. Some say she was a young woman, a woman who died a sad death, full of anger and sadness. Others say she is something much older, a vengeful spirit, a demon hiding in plain sight. Whatever she really is, one thing is true. She is made of darkness, a creature of fear. Stories of the red-cloaked woman are told all over Korea, whispered very quietly, shared only with the bravest. They say she appears on dark nights, her face hidden by her hood. She asks one question, "Have you seen my child?" Her voice is a whisper, cold as ice, sharp as broken glass. Those who hear it feel a shiver down their spines. Some say she appears near bridges. These bridges, often shrouded in mist and mystery, are said to be the meeting points between our world and the next. The red-cloaked woman, as she is known, is a figure of legend and fear. Her presence is a harbinger of doom, a sign that the boundary between the living and the dead is thin and fragile. Bridges are places where things change. They connect two sides, two worlds, and sometimes two realms. At dawn, when the first light of day touches the dark waters below, the bridge stands as a silent witness to the passage of time. The old lanterns flicker, casting eerie shadows that dance and sway, as if the spirits themselves are moving. Places where the living and the dead meet. In the dead of night, when the fog rolls in and the shadows grow long, the bridge becomes a place of otherworldly encounters. The mist swirls and thickens, obscuring the path ahead, and for a moment, it feels as if the bridge is disappearing into another dimension. It is in these moments that the red-cloaked woman is said to appear. Maybe she is looking for her child in the afterlife. The stories tell of a mother, lost in grief, searching endlessly for her lost child. Her red cloak, a symbol of her undying love and sorrow, stands out starkly against the dark, foggy backdrop. Her eyes, filled with a haunting sadness, scan the surroundings, hoping to catch a glimpse of her beloved child. Or maybe she is trying to trick the living to go to the world of the dead. Some believe that her sorrow has turned to malice, and that she now seeks to lure the living into the afterlife. Her ghostly figure, barely visible through the mist, beckons to those who are lost or vulnerable. Her voice, soft and mournful, calls out, promising solace and reunion, but leading only to despair. No one knows for sure. The true nature of the red-cloaked woman remains a mystery. Some say she is a guardian, protecting the bridge and the souls that cross it. Others believe she is a vengeful spirit, seeking to drag the living into the darkness. The only certainty is that her presence is a warning, a sign that the bridge is a place of danger and uncertainty. But one thing is true. To see her is to be marked by fate. The lanterns flicker and the air grows cold as if the very fabric of reality is being torn apart. The bridge, once a simple structure of wood and stone, becomes a gateway to the unknown. The red-cloaked woman stands at the entrance, her figure illuminated by the dim light, a silent sentinel of the afterlife. To see the red-cloaked woman on a bridge is very bad luck. It is said that those who encounter her are cursed, doomed to face misfortune and tragedy. Her red cloak, once a symbol of love, now represents danger and death. The bridge, a place of connection and transition, becomes a trap, ensnaring the souls of the unwary, a sign of something terrible to come. The sight of the red-cloaked woman is a portent, a warning that something dreadful is on the horizon. The bridge, shrouded in fog and mystery, stands as a testament to the thin veil between life and death. Those who see her know that their fate is sealed, and that the bridge will forever be a place of fear and foreboding. Many stories tell of people disappearing after seeing the red-cloaked woman. They vanish completely, leaving behind only whispers and rumors. Some say she takes them, steals them away to the afterlife. Others say she is just a messenger, a warning of a coming tragedy. One cold winter night, a young man named Kim was walking home alone. He was late. The streets were empty. As he passed an old empty building, he saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was a woman. She was wearing a long red cloak. Her face was hidden under her hood. "Have you seen my child?" she whispered. Her voice was cold and empty, like a grave. Kim's heart pounded in his chest like a drum. He wanted to run, to escape the suffocating darkness of the alley. But he couldn't move. His legs felt like they were made of lead, frozen in place by an unseen force. He tried to speak, to call out for help, but his voice was trapped in his throat, strangled by fear. But no words came out. The woman stepped closer, her silhouette growing larger and more menacing with each step. The air around her seemed to crackle with a strange energy, making the hairs on the back of Kim's neck stand on end. He could see her now, her features obscured by the shadows, but there was no mistaking the aura of danger that surrounded her. Her red cloak seemed to swell around her, billowing in the wind like a living thing. It was as if the fabric itself was alive, moving and shifting with a will of its own. The color was so vivid, so intense that it seemed to bleed into the darkness, casting an eerie glow on the walls of the alley. Like a pool of blood, the cloak spread out around her, a stark contrast to the inky blackness of the night. Kim's mind raced, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. Was this some kind of hallucination? A trick of the light? But deep down he knew that this was real, too real. And then, just as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. Vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but the lingering scent of roses and a cold chill that seeped into Kim's bones. He stood there, alone in the alley, his mind reeling from the encounter. It was as if time itself had stopped, and he was left suspended in that moment of terror. Kim never saw her again. But the memory of that night haunted him, a ghost that refused to be exorcised. He would often find himself looking over his shoulder, half expecting to see the red cloak fluttering in the distance. The fear never truly left him, a constant companion that lurked in the shadows of his mind. But he never forgot that scary meeting. It was etched into his memory, a vivid nightmare that played out in his mind over and over again. He could still feel the cold grip of fear, the paralyzing terror that had held him in place. And he could still see her, the red-cloaked woman, her eyes burning with an intensity that seemed to pierce his very soul. He never forgot the red-cloaked woman. She became a symbol of his deepest fears, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of his perception. And though he tried to move on, to forget, he knew that he would always be looking over his shoulder, waiting for the day when she would return. The legend of the red-cloaked woman continues today, a scary tale told for many years, a story that makes everyone who hears it shiver. Is she real? Or is she just in our imaginations, a symbol of our deepest fears? Maybe the answer is somewhere in between, in the shadows, where the line between real and nightmare is blurry. So the next time you are walking alone at night, remember the stories you've heard. The tales of the red-cloaked woman have been whispered through generations, each one more chilling than the last. They say she appears when the night is at its darkest, and the streets are empty, save for the unlucky soul who crosses her path. And you feel a cold wind, a wind that seems to carry whispers of the past. It's not just any wind, it's a chilling breeze that sends shivers down your spine, making you pull your coat tighter around you. This is the first sign that she might be near. And you hear a whisper. It's not a friendly whisper, but a sinister one, echoing through the empty streets. It feels as if the shadows themselves are speaking to you, warning you, or perhaps luring you closer. Be careful, for this is how she makes her presence known. It might be the red-cloaked woman. She is often seen from a distance, a shadowy figure draped in a red cloak standing under a streetlight or at the end of a foggy alley. Her presence is both mesmerizing and terrifying, drawing you in while every instinct tells you to run, looking for her lost child. The legend says she roams the streets, searching endlessly for her child who was taken from her long ago. Her sorrow is palpable, and her cries can be heard on the wind, a haunting melody that tugs at your heartstrings, or maybe looking for something much worse. Some say her search is not just for her child, but for a replacement. A soul to take the place of the one she lost. Whatever you do, do not let her see you, for her gaze is said to be as cold as death itself. Don't look under her hood. They say that those who have dared to look beneath her hood have never been seen again. The few who have survived speak of eyes that burn with an unholy fire, and a face twisted with eternal grief and rage. And don't answer her question. If she speaks to you, do not respond. Her voice is said to be enchanting, drawing you in with promises of answers and solace. But those who answer her are never heard from again, lost to the shadows forever, because the red-cloaked woman is not someone you want to meet on a dark night. Her presence is a harbinger of doom, a reminder of the thin veil between our world and the next. She is a ghost, a specter of sorrow and vengeance, and encountering her can only mean one thing: danger, or any night at all. So as you walk through the dark streets, keep your eyes open and your wits about you. Beware the Red Cloak, for she is always watching, always waiting, and you never know when she might appear.